tonight we are going to talk about a topic that pertains to every single one of us in this room. I actually think it is one of the most wanted to be known things of kids your age, but not just that, but people of all ages, and it's the topic of love. Hopefully everybody in here has experienced love of some form or fashion. I know that as a culture, we are kind of enamored and fixated on the idea of love. It pretty much drives everything that we do. If you think about songs that are written, there are more love songs written than all the other songs written about other topics combined. You turn on the radio, you're going to hear Taylor Swift singing about some sort of fake love song. If you go to the movies, especially girls, you go to see a love movie. Even guys, if we go to see an action movie, there's always a love interest tied into the action movie. If you watch TV, love is all over TV. Wherever we look, love is in our culture. And not only that, but our desire to be loved affects what we wear, and it affects how we eat, and it affects the way we talk, and it affects everything we do, because at our most basic need, one of those things that we need is to be known and to be loved. Everybody wants to be known. Everybody wants to be loved. But as a culture, do we really understand what that love looks like? We may have been fed some idea, some Disney made-up story of what love should look like. A prince coming in and sweeping a princess off her feet. Or a vampire coming in and sweeping a poor soul off of her feet. Do people still watch Twilight? Is that still a thing? It's all about Divergent and Hunger Games and stuff now, right? No. But what we see and what we listen to influences the way we view love and influences what we think it should be. But I think some of us have got it all wrong. We've been fed a lie. And I know for a fact that people want to know the answer to the question that we're asking tonight, what is love? Because year after year, believe it or not, the number one search question on the search engine Google is what is love? And that's not just in the U.S., that's across the world. You can literally go in on Google and say, what is the most asked question on Google? Because I did it last night. And that came up. What is love? And it far outweighs any other question that is asked. It's crazy. People want to know what love is. And so lucky enough for us, as y'all know, we've been going through 1 John. And we've come to 1 John chapter 4. And 1 John chapter 4 is all about love. In chapter 4, John uses the word love 27 different times. So you think he's trying to get a point across. You think he's trying to get a point to the people who he's writing to. And so tonight, we're going to answer that question, what is love? And we're going to start in 1 John 4, verses 7 through 11. So if you have your Bibles, you can turn there. If not, Philip is doing a great job of putting it on the screen. And as you can tell, look, just in these couple of verses, love all over the place. So be prepared to feel the love tonight. Starting, there's so many jokes I can make. Like, what is love? You can feel the love tonight. This is like going against everything inside me, not to make jokes. But I'm going to read what we're going to go over. Starting in verse 7. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God. And everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. One who does not love does not know God, for God is love. By this, the love of God was manifested in us, that God sent His only begotten Son into the world so that we might live through Him. And this is love. Not that we loved God, but that He loved us, and sent His Son to be the propitiation for our sins. Beloved, if God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. And so what I want to do is just go through these verses kind of verse by verse, and just pick apart what John was trying to teach us about God and His love. And so in verse 7 and 8 is where we'll look first. And the first thing I want us to realize about 7 and 8 is the statement, God is love. God is love. He says it at the end of verse 8. God is love. Now we all may have grown up in the church, maybe if we didn't, you might have still even seen this, like on a coffee mug or a refrigerator magnet or in a Hallmark card where someone said, God is love. But we don't really know what that means. We don't really know what it means that God is love. And so the best way I could think of it is, I said that, number one, You cannot separate love from God or God from love. This is God, this is love. God is the perfect standard of love because he has existed in perfect love since the beginning. He has always been, he will always be the most purest, perfect standard of love. Everything that he does, all of his judgments, all of his ways, everything that he ever has and ever will do is rooted in his perfect love. And his perfect love works in perfect union with all of his other attributes, like his righteousness and his justice and his omniscience and every attribute of God that you can think of. His love is intertwined in that. And what John is telling the people is that God is love. The two cannot be separated. And so the way I want us to think about this is I'm going to do a little exercise with us, is on the count of 3, I want y'all to say the name that pops in your head when I say the word light bulb. What name pops in your head? 1, 2, 3. Thomas Edison. Y'all did a lot better than the junior hires on that one. So I guess somewhere between 9th and 12th grade they teach you about the light bulb of Thomas Edison. Okay, one more time. What name pops in your head when I say the word apple? Like in an iPhone. 1, 2, 3. Johnny Appleseed. They got this one better than y'all did. I meant like Apple the company, like Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs. I guess the younger generation is more connected to their iPhone than y'all are. But the point is, when you think of these things, when you think of a light bulb, you think of Thomas Edison. When you think of the Apple company, you think of Steve Jobs. Because those ideas originated with those people. Rest in peace, Steve. But before he passed away, his name was synonymous with Apple. But here's the thing. Thomas Edison was not light bulb. Light bulb is still not Thomas Edison. Steve Jobs is not Apple. That's not what he is. That may have been what he made. But the difference is that God is love. He originated it. It was his idea. And it still is a part of him, and it always will be a part of him. And so that's the first thing John wanted us to understand, is that God is love. You cannot separate God and love. And kind of flowing out of that, what John says, number 2, is that you cannot truly love apart from God. That's a bold statement. Basically he's saying, if you're not a Christian, you can't love. And I know what you're probably thinking in your head. You're probably thinking, whoa, I know a lot of really good people in my life that love. And I just went to go see the Hunger Games movie, and I know for a fact that Peeta loves Katniss. And yeah, that's true. He does love her. But before you get all District 12 on me, I want to just settle down, and I want to see what exactly John was talking about. You see, because the New Testament was written in Greek. So John is writing this in Greek. And so there are multiple words for our English word love. There's actually 4 known words for love in the Greek that could be translated into our English word love and the way we use it today. And so I just want to look at those real quick. The first one is storge. Storge love is like a natural love that a parent would have for their child. So you know, when a child is born, baby comes out of the womb, automatically that mom or dad holds that baby in their arms, and there's just a connection. I don't know why I love this disgusting little thing in my arms, but I just can't put it down. Like, that's just the way it goes. Or if you're like really, really close, like your grandma or your grandpa, you don't know why you love this old person, but they've been in your life the whole time. You just really feel attached to them. That's what this storge is. It's a natural love that naturally occurs in the human heart for like family members and those kind of things. Like, you can't really explain it, but I'm just so attached to this baby. It's mine. It's crazy. So that's the first word in Greek for love. The second one is eros. Now, eros is where we get our English word erotic. And so this is like passionate, emotional love. that you may look upon someone and see something that's attractive to you, and you may say, I love her. Guys, you may be walking down the hallway and this girl may catch your eye, and you just all of a sudden forget everything that was behind you. You're like, I love her. And you have no idea anything about this girl. You just see her and you're like, boom. But this love is the kind of love that is so passionate, and it's so like stirring in our hearts that it can easily be perverted into something called lust, which is not a good thing. It can easily be turned into a perversion and a terrible thing. But the thing about eros is that eros is conditional. And so, for example, say there's something about this girl that you just really find attractive and you can't get her mind. Say you really got a thing for blondes, and she has this blonde hair. And so you see her, but then the next day she shows up to school and half of her head is shaved and she has like dyed this other half like some ugly puke green on her head, and you're just like, what was I thinking? Like, where did that come from? That thing that attracted you to her is gone. So therefore that love is gone. Just like that. This love is fleeting. It can have peaks and valleys. But it's all about what can I get from you that attracts me to you. And if that thing's gone, then this love is gone. So there's eros. Storge, eros. The third one is phileo. Phileo. So if any of y'all know anything about American cities, you would know the city of Philadelphia is a city of brotherly love. And that's what phileo is. Phileo is brotherly love. Once again, kind of talking to the guys, if you've ever been in a bromance, like, this is my dude, like, you know what I'm talking about. You have those guys or girls, you have those girls you just like instantly connect with, and there's just that friendship there. You just love them like they're not even your brother or sister, but you just love them like they are. And so this is the kind of a love between friends. This is a good like companion bond. Like, we've been through so much together. But the thing about phileo is that it's also conditional. Because you don't phileo your enemies. You aren't bros with the dude who stole your girl. That's not the way it works. Because if someone wrongs you and proves that they are not your friend, then you will in turn your back and say, I don't love you anymore. Friendships have been broken. We've all experienced a broken friendship before. And that's what phileo is. Phileo is good, and it's good to have brotherly love. It's good to have companionship and fellowship. But this love is also conditional in the fact that you will not phileo someone who you don't like. That's just the way it works. And so we have storge, natural love, eros, emotional, passionate love, phileo, brotherly love, and lastly, the one that John is talking about in this passage and all throughout his book, we have agape love. The perfect love that comes only from God. Now, the thing about agape love is that agape love is unconditional. There is nothing that you can do that can change the way that you are loved. Agape love is self-sacrificing, which means it's not about me. It's all about you. It's I will go through whatever it takes to make sure you are in a better position. I will go through anything. I'll put myself through the fire and flames. Song reference. I will do whatever it takes to make sure you know you are loved. I will even sacrifice myself to the point of death in order to prove to you that you are loved. Phileo love is relentless, it's uncompromising, it cannot be stopped, and that's the kind of love that John is talking about when he says to know God, to be born of Him. Then you can go out and love like that, because we cannot do that within ourselves. That love does not come from humans, because humans are selfish beings who are only concerned with our own personal desires.